Hello, I'm Chrissy White from Vibrant Gourmet, and I'm here today with a magic pumpkin. Let me tell you about this chap that you see here. It is grown in Glastonbury at Healing Waters, Healing Gardens in fact, and Healing Gardens sit on the Michael ley line with extraordinary energy that comes from the earth and powers and nurtures everything very beautifully as it grows there. It's also watered with spring water from the source that is at Healing Waters, hence the name. And thank you very much to Juliet, who presides over Healing Waters and is custodian of the land and priestess of the Healing Centre there. So we're very honoured today to have Pumpkin with us, and I'm going to show you how to prepare the pumpkin to be carved for Halloween, which is coming up, and obviously it's pumpkin season, so you'll see a lot of them around. And even if they're not quite as special as this one, then buy one, have a go, and I'm going to show you what to do with the flesh of the pumpkin, rather than just discarding it for the fun of carving for lanterns. This is quite extraordinary. It's heavy, it feels very dense, and there's a certain slight reverberation to the skin when I tap it like that, which means that the flesh is just starting to come away a little tiny bit, meaning that it's absolutely perfectly ripe to use. And the colour obviously is so vibrant. Orange is all about activating that sacral energy centre, our aliveness, our vitality, our sexual energy. So sensuous and sexy is this beautiful pumpkin here, and I'm calling it a chap because that suits me. Okay, here we go. Now it seems almost wrong to be putting a knife into this, but that's my job and that's what I'm here to show you today. So we're going to cut into the pumpkin at the top at an angle so that this creates a lid. I'm not actually going to carve the eyes and the mouth, I'm going to let the children do that later on. What we're going to do, as I say, is create a lid around the top, so we have to go in at an angle so that when the lid goes back on again, it doesn't fall into the empty cavern of the pumpkin once all the flesh has been carved out. So here we go. First incision. I've got a sharp knife and a knife that isn't too big, because wielding a very large knife can be quite tricky, especially when you need to do precise work. There are plenty of organic pumpkins around in the shops. I bought one yesterday from my local Whole Foods store, where things are grown organically and locally. So do look around, and it's always a good idea to buy organic food wherever possible, because organic food of course is much more nutritious. It might be a little bit more expensive, although if you go to farmers markets or grow your own, then the cost shouldn't be any different. Either way, it's worth investing that little bit extra, because organic food is 4 times as nutritious. So really your investment will pay off straight away. In addition to the extra nutrition, you're also getting flavour. Flavour second to none. And you'll be getting the satisfaction of food that is really nourishing and completes your desire for nourishment, rather than leaving you half empty, because a lot of non-organic food is simply just calories. So as the great joke goes, you start eating, you have the meal that's not organic or junk food based, and then 20 minutes later you're hungry again. Oh, and by the way, you're putting on weight because it's just empty calories and no real nutrition. And those of you who know me know that I'm all about highest quality nutrition, superfood nutrition, because quite honestly, it's the only way to live. Now, you'll see some of the flesh is coming out on the knife now because we're going deeper here. And I'm hoping that the lid will come off just as soon as I reach that centre point there. So we're almost in the centre, and there we go, lift off, or lid off should I say. Right, now you'll see that's quite an angle that I've cut, although I didn't really have a choice because the stem of the pumpkin was quite deeply indented in the top. So there we are, that's the hat. And the centre of the pumpkin is actually, it's beautifully fragrant, it's really lovely. I wish this was smell-o-vision, is it called? It really is absolutely delicious. So I'm going to take a larger knife and cut that out now and show you what to do with some of the flesh. Obviously there's enough here to feed a small army, so we'll only be using part of it, although there are plenty of things you can do with the rest of the flesh. If you pop it in the fridge, it will keep for a few days. You can also cut it into chunks and freeze it. You can use it for soups, you can do roasted veggies, you can do all sorts of things with it, puree it and use it as a sauce. Right, now that we've taken off the lid, which as you can see I've just left there, and I'm going to take the flesh off that later on. In the meantime, I want to show you something of what's inside the pumpkin, because in the very centre, and this flesh is perfect, in the very centre are the seeds. Now pumpkin seeds are very, very special indeed. Pumpkin seeds are full of protein. They're a very rich source of protein, and if you're thinking about eating less meat, or perhaps you're already vegetarian or even vegan, you'll know that you need to find protein from other sources. And actually it's a fallacy that meat is the only protein or the best source of protein. That's perhaps another story for another time. Suffice to say for now that pumpkin seeds are a very, very rich source of protein. Not only that, they provide very powerful omega oils, which are really effective for men. Very, very good in the treatment or the prevention of prostate cancer. And you might also invest in a bottle of pumpkin seed oil, which is a true delicacy. It can be quite expensive, and it's like lots of those oils, you get what you pay for. Organic pumpkin seed oil, if you can find it, it's probably about £10, £12 maybe for a bottle, and it's absolutely exquisite, really delicious, and is a very, very powerful prevention and nurturing oil that will really support your health, whether you're male or female. It just happens to be a particularly powerful support for men of a certain age. Now then, this is a fresh pumpkin seed. You'll see them usually in the shops dried, and they're green. As you can see, the seeds are white and they're flat with a slightly oval shape. It's not a good idea to eat them raw. Best to let them dry and toast them before you do eat them. Okay, so we've extracted the seeds and the very soft flesh around the seeds, and now I'm going to go in and take out the flesh, leaving a good margin so that this becomes a pumpkin lantern. And I'm using the larger knife for this because now I can get inside. The larger knife will help. We can cut round the edge, about 1 centimetre from the skin. Easy to see because of the colours, of course, and then I'm going to cut through that part of the pumpkin so that I can take it out easily, and if any of it needs to be stored, then it's in reasonable chunks. I'm just folding down, cutting in and folding down the flesh. I don't want to cut it into too small a piece as I go around. Okay, so now we've hollowed out our magic pumpkin. I've left some of the flesh just to show you what it might look like when it's partly hollowed. And here we've got the seeds and the softer fibrous flesh that sits around the seeds. So we'll put that away for now. We've also got the large pieces that you can either use, as I said, in soups. You can do veggies, roasted veggies, stir fry. If you're going to do stir fry, use coconut oil. Or you can freeze this to use it later on, because as you can see this is a huge pumpkin, so you might not want to use it all straight away. Now, bringing our little chap, or our large chap, back, you'll see that the lid is not a perfect fit because of course we've carved out the space, but don't forget that the angle has to remain so the lid has something to sit on. And here you'll see the smaller pieces of pumpkin flesh, which are perfectly lovely, very, very fragrant. And I'm going to use some of those for our pumpkin pie, because actually it's a blended pie, or the topping is blended. So these pieces are perfect to put into the Vitamix to make the top of the pie, and I'm going to keep these for use over the next few days.